Good morning, guys. Well, we're as you can see, we're back at the plot, and there's been a bit of stuff going on. In the last episode, you saw us preparing the bed, and yesterday I didn't do any filming yesterday, but we got in all the canes and things for for our beans and what have you, and it's time to get them beans out. We didn't plant them yesterday for a couple of reasons. Firstly, yesterday was one of them days I just wanted to get on with the task at hand, and today, like I said, we're going to get them out. But the other reason was it was really hot yesterday. As you can see, it's a little bit overcast this morning, so it's a bit cooler. It is early, mind. It's 9:30, so and it's a little bit windy, but it's going to give these beans a bit more of a chance because they should have gone out quite a long time ago, and they've started tangling themselves up a little bit, but they're not too far where we can't sort that out. So I'll give you a quick look at what we've been doing. So as you can see now, we've created our bean structure. Now this is 3 scaffolding poles hammered in like a H frame. Okay, so they hammered into the ground there, a big beam across the top, and the same other thing, and then we got our wigwam of bean canes. Now as you can see up here, all of the canes are all cable tied. It makes things a lot quicker, much easier, and again much sturdier. Then along here, then on this side of the bed, we've got 3 wigwams of sticks, and we're going to use those for our sweet peas. So hopefully this bed will all be one massive flower when it does get going, and it's going to give the bees something to have a munch on, and attract some single bee species and some solitary bee species into the plot as well. So we've done that yesterday. The other thing we did was we built this structure here. Now normally when we do our we put 3 rows of peas in here. As you can see, they're all starting to come up. Now normally when we do our peas, we put in netting and things like that for them to climb, but because it's only in an 8x4 bed, I didn't want to do that this year. So what I've done, I've cable tied a load of bamboo twigs together, okay, and created a lattice. It's just enough for them to get their tendrils on, and we can wrap them around and whatever. So we've got one there, one in the center, and again one on the end. And this, like I said, is a sturdy structure, so it's going to allow those peas to climb. The other thing we did yesterday, okay, was we cut down by hand this area in preparation to sit the hives on. So you can see now where the hives are going to go. We've got a hive here and another hive there. Okay, let me just check if you're not zoomed in on this. No, you're not. Okay, so when we were cutting the grass down, we've got this big, huge, tall grass there that came up, and I don't know where it's come from, but it's quite nice as a, just to break the edge of the pond up. There's a couple of others around as well, so I've actually left them. We've sort of gradually tapered the back of the weeds over the hibernaculum, and they're going to be staying there. Now the pond is really starting to mature out. We've got fish, where it's just gone. In here there's a feather there and what have you. There are fish just around the corner there. I don't know if you can make them out by that leaf. Hang on a sec, just see them in the back there. But there was all frogs and all sorts in here yesterday. There's a little fish just down there, look, you can just make out the orange under that leaf. But like I said, yesterday we had all sorts of frogs in here and stuff, so they're obviously still about and still hiding, but they haven't got the shade that they had when all the grass was here. But what it does, like I said, it sets this area up now nicely for the beehives, and what will happen next year, these black currants are going to bush out very much like these ones, and it'll give that extra little bit of protection for the hives. We'll have a look at the strawberries a bit later, because we've had a couple of requests about updates on the strawberries. But for now, the beans are here. We've got a load of tidying up to do. There's a load of muck and stuff there we're going to get rid of today, and then we're going to get the paths finished as well if we've got time. But for today, we need to get these beans in. Now, this is a variety called Cobra, and we're just going to get them planted. Okay guys, so we watered this yesterday, but it's still relatively dry. It's got the odd leaf in it, and all we're going to do is just create a couple of nice holes behind. Now, some of these pots have 2 beans in, some have 3, and basically all we're going to do is plant the pot. As you can see here, the roots are quite compact because they've been in it a little while. We're just going to tease them out, and all we're going to do is plant the whole pot. There we go. Plant the whole pot for the line, you know, for the one pole, and that's going to just give us a good sort of coverage there. And then all we got to do is just wrap them, let them get their tendrils on it. There we are. So there's the first one done, guys, and it's as simple as that. If it's got 2 in it, we'll plant 2. If it's got 1, we will plant 1. So this one's got 1 in, and we've put these quite close together because we can. So again, really nice root structures. Just tease them out a little bit. Try not to rip them loads, but you don't want that. You don't want the roots going round in circles, guys. Okay, that's really important. So again, just feed them around and let them do the rest. They'll do it all for you. Firm them in, and that's as basic as it needs to be. As you can see, the trommel made great work of making this soil nice and workable. Pull out a couple of the roots. Feed him around. In a couple of days, that's all they're going to need to really get themselves established. Like I said, this variety is called Enorma, and it's quite a good show variety, but we're not going to be showing them, I doubt it. These are for us to eat. Now look, if you look careful here now, guys, alright, we've got a few which have twisted around each other. It's really important when you untwist these to do it very gently, because if you break that growing tip, then that is the end of your bean climbing height. You know, ideally you want to be planting them way before this section, but they're not too far gone. If you take your time, don't pull on them. There we are. You can sort them out. Now, when these are in the ground, we're going to give them a really good water. There we go. Because they are quite dry, even though they were watered last night. I think because of they're in the polytunnel and everything else. They're obviously, and they're only in little pots. They're not getting enough water because of the size of them now. But like I said, just feed them around the best you can and leave them do the rest. Over the next few days, we will check check out how they're wrapping. One other thing as well, guys, beans always go anti-clockwise around the pole. The reason for that I don't really know, Okay, so there's no point trying to wrap it clockwise and then finding that it's unwrapped itself. So so might as well just wrap them anti-clockwise to start with. And this is a nice tall one, so he's gonna have no problems clinging to this pole. Again, if you've got two, stick the two in, but just make sure that you tease those roots out. Don't try not to break them, but tease them roots out to give them a chance to go elsewhere. And then just put the soil back around, firm them in, and like I said, these are going to get a really good watering. And just leave them away. So I'm going to leave you to it at the moment, guys, and I'll come back to you when it's all done. So all the beans are now out, guys, as you can see, and on the left side going down the wigwam, we've got a Norma, which is a runner bean, and on the right hand side going all the way down here we have Cobra, which is a French bean, a French climbing bean. So they're all done. On the wigwams, we've got some sweet peas. They're only small at the moment, but they'll grow like anything else. Everything's been watered, so hopefully it'll be a perfect time, because tomorrow they forecast yet more rain and wind and everything else. I'm hoping that you know, that the beans will be all right. In the bottom of each hole we've put in some 6X and some bone meal, just to give them a good boost while they're out here, because they've been stuck in the polytunnel for so long. They were hardened off a little bit, and the thing with the polytunnel, if I just set you up there, all those windows are open, so it's getting a really good breeze through. So you know, so that's that. Down there, as you can see, the Jerusalem artichokes are really coming along now. I just need to get into my beds now and start getting on with stuff. Some of the cabbage are picking up, which is good. Now our next job will be to remove this lot, because believe it or not, guys, there's been some good news on the front of cleaning up the plots. They managed to find another guy to remove the rubbish. He's been down there the last few days, just sort of taking out the plastics and stuff and what have you, and tomorrow he is coming with a grab lorry to get rid of the rest. So I'm going to take advantage of that, and I'm going to stick that down the bottom. I've asked Phil, who's got a plot next door, his missus is one of the secretaries of the plot. I've asked him if I can just stick it down here. It's only about 3 wheelbarrows of stuff here, so it's not going to hurt anybody. The clodges I'll just put in and fill the holes along the edge of the fencing like normal. So that's one of the next jobs. The strawberries, guys, we've been asked for loads of updates. Give you some sort of idea how these 3-tier systems work. Look at that, it's just one mass of foliage. Now, we've been asked, you know, how good they are. Well, you know, we're getting absolutely tons of strawberries coming on, as you can see. You know, they're all over the shop, and we've got a couple of. There's a red one there. Look, I'll see if I can move the leaves out your way. Excuse me, throwing you around. So it's not quite ripe yet, but right the way around these. I mean, look at that, guys. So you can imagine just how many strawberries are on these two beds. Now, that bed there is an 8-foot square bed, but it's got probably 200 plants in it, and likewise with this one. Now, like anything else, okay, as you can see now, there's grass creeping up in here, and there was somewhere the weeds come through, and I didn't get a chance to get it sorted this year. But what we're going to do, these are the third year that these strawberries are sort of are coming. So after this year, this one will be gutted. So we're going to take a load of runners off this one. It'll be totally stripped down completely, all new compost, and manures and stuff like that will be added, and then the runners will be replanted back into it. Initially they will go into pots or baskets like we've always done. In the centre here, this is where we normally step in. If you remember, the bird was in here with the eggs, so I never bother clear that out. But I mean, you can see the amount of strawberries that this thing is producing. You know, they are all over the shop. You know, so we won't go short of strawberries again this year. And we've got the odd strawberry along there and over there, but it's the same right around. If I come around here, and the great thing is there's still loads of flowers appearing on it, but again you can see all the little strawberries just starting to come through. So they've all been pollinated, and they're being pollinated at, oh, I just missed him, see if I can catch up with him, by these little guys. So they're doing the job, and next year it should be even better, because obviously our bees will be out foraging and things like that. So so that's that. And the great thing is the bees will only be across by here, so they'll be able to forage. What we're going to do, incidentally, we're going to take the netting out of one of these windows. The only drawback with that is that it may allow other stuff in, like mice and things, but we'll only do that later on in the year when there's something in there the bees can get in and pollinate with. Okay guys, so it's now Friday, and so it's 3 days since we started this this episode. Okay, but as you can see, all our rubbish is now gone, and we have bark chipped all the way down there. So all of this area is now done. We've bark chipped all over here where we were waiting because we hadn't finished this bed and we didn't want to get all the soil in the bark chip. So that's all now been bark chipped. Obviously we bark chipped all up there earlier on in the year, so we didn't have to worry about that. And all down here has been bark chipped. As you can see, all the beans were put in yesterday and the peas. And the birds are actually using this as a dust bath. It's that fine. You can see where there's a little bit of bread here. Someone has chucked out to the birds. It's a bit hard, and for some reason they've dropped it on the plot. But the birds are all sort of using it like a dust bath at the moment. We've forecast some storms tonight, well today actually, from about 1 o'clock. I've got to repair this where it's fallen off. We're going to do that in a moment, and a couple of other screws in some places. But what we need to do now is go through and weed the rest of the beds, because obviously we've sort of been neglecting them a little bit. As you can see in the onions here, there's quite a few weeds, and likewise down with all the beetroot and things like that, and the chard. These lettuce that didn't look too great the other day are pulling back, so that's all good. And we've got some, excuse me, and we've got some iceberg, 2 rows of iceberg in between these. And the good thing about doing this, guys, is that these Jerusalem artichokes will shade out some of the sun off these lettuce, so it'll stop them from bolting so much. I haven't watered any more of these earlies, because like I said, we're going to pull them out because we want to use the compost like in these 3 and put over with the pumpkins. You can see that onion bed there, look at that, it's just full of little weed, which we've got to get sorted. This is the only part now we need to sort out, but as you can see it's just dry clay. Most of it was dug over except this little sort of 3 foot by 3 foot patch here, so that'll be another job for the next day or so, and then we can start moving the potatoes across onto there just to get them out of the way and free up some of the space. These poly booms were off the old polytunnel where the cage is now sat. and this is my very first polytunnel. What we're going to do with these is we'll make some sort of netting, you know, enclosures to go over some of the beds. But it's all good. All the comfrey's up again. If you remember a little while ago in our last video, we cut it down and it's just about to start flowering, look. So we need to cut this down again. So we're going to cut that down and we'll make some more comfrey out of that, but we're going to make a more concentrated version. The peas are coming up the beans slowly. In the polytunnel we do have peas. The gooseberries are doing really well, as you can see. So we've got, you know, quite a few on there, and hopefully over the next few years it'll be great. Red currants starting to ripen there, so and we've got loads on here as well, so that's good. I don't know if you can make them out down there, all the little birds running around. They're absolutely loving it up here at the moment. These bushes are absolutely packed with blueberries, and I mean packed. Every branch, look, it's just got blueberries on it. So one of my next jobs will be to net this off because the birds ain't getting them. The shallots, well, they've split really well and they stand to bulb up quite nice now. The only thing I would say is at the moment is the Zimbrun banana shallots aren't doing that great at all. They're in there and in this bed, and you can hardly see them for the weed, but they just don't seem to be wanting to grow. So that's just the weather for you. One thing I did notice this morning, I did take you guys around and show you that strawberry. So I think it's pretty much ready. There we go, guys, my first strawberry, and I believe there's a couple more starting to ripen up. So so that's all good, and I can't wait for them to get going. I'll take you in the polytunnel a bit quick, and then we're going to call this episode a day. Okay, as you can see in here, we've got all our courgettes and pumpkins, and they're dying to get out. They're starting to turn yellow because of the lack of nutrients, so we need to get them out ASAP, really. Tomatoes are all doing really well. We've got a couple of trusses on some of them now, and we've even got tomatoes. If you look here, there's even tomatoes forming, so it's all good. Well, I just dropped the Zoom H1, so, and it switched itself off, so I don't know how much of this video you've actually had. Them peas that are going to seed in here, I mean, you can see the peas on them and everything else. We've got more ochre along here, which we need to get out as well. And what that's going to do is now free up the rest of my beds so that I can get the stuff I need to in here. One thing I did want to point out, guys, about 6 weeks ago I planted some watermelons and nothing happened with them, so I stopped watering them. And yesterday these two germinated. It's unbelievable. So so we'll give them some water today. Can't believe, you know, nothing for weeks on end, and then they germinated. One thing I do want to say, Marshalls, I had 5 sweet potato slips from Marshalls, and if you remember, I complained to them about them, and they said to put them in some water and then pot them up. Well, Marshalls, that's what happened with your sweet potatoes. All 5 of them dead. Now, I got given a slip that someone done in the house a little while ago, and I potted that up, and that's doing fine. So it was obviously the quality of the Marshalls product, and I will be writing to them again. Anyway, guys, so as you can see, there's been loads of work going on the plot. You know, it's really starting to take shape now. Things are starting to grow. But like I said, we got this big storm coming in. later on today. It's going to be thunder and lightning and all sorts. You can see that bird just run behind there. So yeah, so there's going to be all sorts going on. Anyway guys, that's it for this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.